That guy's, oh, what was it? It's a hippo, right? Yeah, that hippo is hilarious, man. Anyways, my day, guys. It's 21st of April. No, May. We do have a live stream today. Um, let's get the links out there, man. Okay, that's done. Let's get to live. Okay, mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. I think we should be good. Money day, money day, money day. Perfect. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. Perfect. Go to the daily. All right, cool. So today. What's crack-a-lacking today? All right, so we just pushed above Tokyo, dropped off. Look at this low here. All right, so I'm gonna look at this low here on the EU. Just gonna build a little bit of a profile right now. I don't really see, at least for now, I don't really see us giving a great, like having a great session today. I think yesterday was a really good session in terms of finding moves. When you look at the likes of, ooh, gold is dropping. Interesting. Hold on. CPI, crude oil today, tomorrow. I know tomorrow is going to be a decent day. We've got the initial jobless claims, we've got manufacturing services, PMI as well. So, you know, we can definitely look forward to tomorrow. Okay. Wow, gold is really dropping, eh? So right now for gold, we pushed up quite high. To be honest, gold is just incredibly bullish right now, and I think if today we can get a little bit of a pullback, that wouldn't be bad at all. But we'll see how that goes. Mm-hmm. So the past 2 days, right, we've been quite bearish. I want to see us get a bit of a bounce from here. Maybe today or tomorrow we'll get a bit of a bounce. Weekly candles got a really nice range right now.
Well, I think that, excuse me, the biggest thing, John, is that market participants and Fed officials are looking at this in different ways. Market participants, as one person put it to me, we need something solid to hang a recommendation on. And so they're looking at the data, and so far the data has been reasonable, and they're more optimistic. The Fed officials are saying the data can't be trusted. It's too far behind. I sat next to one Fed president last night at dinner who said the beige book is stale by the time we get it. So what they're doing is continuously talking and having their staffs continuously talk to business leaders about what they're thinking at that moment and what the plan might be for that company. Because as Raphael Bostic put it last night, they have to make a decision at some point about whether they're going to hire, fire, raise prices, keep prices unchanged, expand or not expand. And if they're going to expand, how much are they going to spend? All of that. And right now they're frozen. At some point, they will have to make a decision. And what his worry is, with this uncertainty continuing, they will just decide not to do anything. They will sit as long as they can with their employees, raise prices
I'm
to
trying
the extent
to
that they
work out a
can,
little play right
but
now.
not invest in the economy, and that will keep us from growing.
Mike, New York Fed President John Williams mentioned September. Is that the point on the calendar that you've got circled now?
That would be the first point. I think all of them are pretty much in agreement that we're not going to have enough information to have these companies make decisions until we get to the end of the summer, because not only do you have the question you were asking earlier about when does the budget bill get passed, but you also have these various 90-day extensions and whatever deals are being negotiated or agreements are being negotiated. And nobody really has any idea when any of this is going to hit the economy. So just looking at, Anne-Marie said it could be August before the budget bill. So the Fed's not going to have that as an input until then. They're going to look to the fall before they would do anything. But again, they all say the same thing. We are well positioned right now. We're kind of in the middle. The economy is okay based on our rate setting. And so we'll just leave it there.
Mike McKee with the latest. Mike, I've enjoyed the reporting through the week so far. Thank you, sir. To extend the conversation, Lindsay Piengsa of Stifel joins us now for more. Lindsay, this is the dilemma they're confronting right now. The policy shock, the volatility of the last month or so could tap the brakes on the US economy, maybe even slam the brakes on the US economy. And then you've got a tax bill going from Washington.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out on a little play right now. Let me turn this down. So far, just looking at the dollar, right, we've just about punched Tokyo's lows, right? Now, the framework I'm working with, at least for today, is understanding that we've come back into a prior area. Okay, obviously today's closure is going to be quite interesting to see as well how this candle finishes from this daily imbalance, right? So prior we did get some candles closing inside the areas but not outside of the imbalance, and then eventually we saw the rally to the upside, and essentially we're inside that same area. So I want to see if we can get a bit of a reaction. Now I'm anticipating us just getting a little bit of a pullback. I'm not saying anything crazy, because I do think, from looking at this from the weekly, like I said to you guys, is bearish. If this is the pullback that we're going to get, that's fine. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get a huge pullback. We've tested that balanced price range on the monthly there, and we've had quite a solid rejection from there. So ideally, I want to see us get a little bit of a pullback and then potential continuation. I'm trying to anticipate how this weekly candle is going to close. And I feel like I think we've had a high volume week so far. Like this candle, if you compare it to the prior week's candle, they're about the same size. And essentially, I'm not too sure if we're actually going to get this weekly candle even extending lower, right? There's not enough evidence, at least for now, to work with, right? But tomorrow we do have some high impact news, so we'll see how that affects markets. My only thing is I fear that today might be a bit of a dead day. Just because yesterday's price action, Monday's price action, they gave moves, right? So I'm potentially thinking today might just not be the best. So I'm calling smash and grab conditions. Right. So if we come over to the half hour, the 15 minute, these lower time frames, we can see, like I said earlier, right, off of the daily area, I'm looking for a little bit of a push up, right? Now, we've taken out Tokyo's low. Let's take a look at the 5 minute. right? We've had a push up, slight pullback, and push up. So I want to see us take out this most recent high, right? If we can take out that most recent high, then I think we've got a good potential to head to this area as number one, right? If we work with other time frames, go to the high time frame. So the foot of this weekly candle, just gonna mark that out, right? That's the foot of the weekly. I'm just gonna make that a different color, right? That's the foot of the weekly. So the foot of the weekly candle is here, okay, of last week's weekly candle. So if I'm anticipating a potential push from this area, right, I want to see us obviously go to target one, right? See if we get a bit of a rejection, or if this is going to be an area where we're going to sell off from. That's also another thing to keep an eye out on. But you know, this prior area of consolidation that we had yesterday, right, and a little bit into Monday, I think we've got a decent chance. I'm not saying like it's great, it's not the best, right? But we've got a decent chance. I want to see us test that the foot of that weekly candle, and then potentially head down lower. Okay, so maybe potentially, you know, we've had Tuesday to Wednesday. If you have Wednesday to Thursday, right, we have a slight push. Maybe we consolidate here into Tokyo, and then come London session, right, we run for Tokyo's high, test the weekly candles low, right, and then come initial jobless claims and all the PMI data, we have bearish data come out, and then we target today's daily low, and then we can see we can go for if we can go for this weekly low, which is our new weekly liquidity, which is 5th of May. So we'll have to see. And right now, it's just not as clear. Even to be honest, yesterday really wasn't all that clear, to be honest, because the setups that I did have for both EU and GU, they didn't play out because, you know, we can see price eventually rallied, but gold did, of course, do the business, right? So ideally, guys, ideally, there's not much in it today in terms of accuracy, in terms of confidence or reliability in setups, right? There's not anything right now, at least for the time being, where it's giving confidence to say, hey, we'll definitely get a move here, or hey, this looks high probability, or hey, you know what I mean? So, in terms of today, now that I understand what the targets are for today, or the probabilities are lower for today, I know, okay, let me take it easy today. Tomorrow seems like we're going to get a little bit more volume. Okay. So yeah, if I'm looking at this and I want us to rally up higher, there's a few options that we can get. Obviously, price is currently working inside of this 15-minute imbalance here, right? We also have this 15-minute down candle that we can test as well. Right, we can look to test that 15-minute candle as well to head higher on the dollar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set some alerts at the imbalance. I'm going to set one here as well, and I'm going to set one here as well. Right, I'm going to set an alert at the half-hour candle. No, let's not do that way. Let's do this way. No, here. Right, I want to see what we're gonna do. You know, I'm potentially thinking today might just be a later on in the day type of trading day. You know, when we look at yesterday, we had a lot smoother price action towards, you know, the end of the day. You know, the 5 p.m., the 6 p.m.s, the 7 p.m.s. You know, that's when market was just going in one direction. So realistically, in terms of today, guys, just gotta chill, take it easy. Just see what moves that we are gonna get. Money Day Mark, Money Day Gift. How you guys doing? All right. So before we head to gold, let's just analyze EU really quickly. So daily time frame. Okay, let's go over to the weekly. Okay, so essentially we've had this balance range on the weekly. I think there's one on the monthly too. Okay, so EU didn't actually tap the monthly area, which is fine, right? we've tapped the weekly area. We've had a rejection, granted, right? If we look at the daily picture, right? And I'm looking at this high, low, high, 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 low, high, high, low, low, pullback, low, pullback, low, pullback, low. Okay, so realistically, we're bullish, right? If I'm looking at this from a swing perspective, I'm going to be looking at this swing high to this swing low, right? We are currently working inside this daily imbalance, right? Which can give us a little bit of a pullback. It can. Now, am I saying this pullback is the be all and end all? No, I'm not saying that. However, we can get a little bit of a pullback here. I would like for us to accumulate and add more liquidity to these highs. Because to be honest with you guys, yeah, these highs are my target for the week. These highs here for EU. That was the main premise behind me looking for a long out of this 4-hour candle, which obviously we didn't get yesterday, unfortunately. So, you know, in that regard, I'm literally looking to trade EU until these highs, at least for this week. Okay, if we don't get it this week, then next week looks pretty good as well. Now, when I look at the lower time frame and I look at EU, we can start to look for some potential long opportunities if we actually get a decent pullback, right? We need to look back into the range. It wasn't really a range, but we had a mini range inside of here, if you will. Okay, we need to look back into this mini range here. See if we can get a pullback down lower. We may test this 4-hour candle, but ideally, I want to see us actually pull back a lot lower, right? So far, so good in terms of lining up with the DXY, right? So when you look at EU, we've kind of just got to let it play out a little bit because the picture really, I'm not looking at EU and saying, this looks great. You know what I mean? Not like gold yesterday where I was like, yeah, gold looks really, really sweet to push higher. We got Brian in the chat. Big up, big up. What's happening, my bro? You good? Yeah, so realistically, I want to see if we can actually get lower. I don't see a trade in this yet, but if I were to go for the inverse picture, right, of the DXY, right, then we'll have to look around this 15-minute candle for some potential shorts lower. But for now, nothing really to scream home about, guys. Yeah. Let's take a look at GU. Let's see if the picture on GU looks a little bit better. So GU monthly picture. Okay, GU is doing, the pound is doing really well against the dollar right now. So weekly imbalance closed. We've just had a punch above these highs here on GU, right? So the liquidity above those highs has been grabbed. As you know, I always say and mention, you know, when new highs or lows are taking, you need to kind of anticipate a reaction in the opposing end, right? So if we just taken our high, you kind of need to anticipate us pulling back off of the base of that factor, right? Obviously, let's just say the sellers in the market, you've just hit their stop losses. Remember, where there are sellers, there's also buyers. So buyers, in order for you to hit their stop loss, you need to pull back down, right? That's the vicious cycle that we're a part of right now. So looking at GU, GU, I wouldn't say GU is really giving a definitive answer in terms of a buy or a sell. But again, I would like to see GU pull down. If I wanted to look at a particular area, it would be this candle here on the hourly, right? So I would just play this as a session, right? Reason being, this hourly candle punched the lows, right? These equal lows. That was the hourly candle that done it, and that was also the sponsor of this move to the upside. So I would like to see us head back down to this hourly candle to go long. I quite like that on GU more than EU at the moment. That doesn't look too bad at all. That doesn't look too bad at all. Okay. So what I'll do is I will start to look at GU closer to this 4-hour candle. Just in case, you know, for whatever reason we get a test of the 4-hour, but we don't come down low enough. But if I were to plot out a potential move here on GU, that's pretty decent, you know, for about 30 pips. Take out the high. That's a decent move. I find that to be quite a decent move, guys. That's not a bad move there on GU. Let's post that up. GU actually doesn't look all that bad. Alright, let's take a look at AU really quickly, see what AU's cooking up over here. So AU's chop is insane. Anyways, let's just look at it technically. Alright, so weekly picture. Right, prior weeks were bearish. Obviously for GU and EU, they were bullish. So bear that in mind. Weekly candle, monthly, daily. So daily structure at the moment. Right, if we look at this low to this high, we look at the highest point, sponsored the high here, boom, 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 there. So technically, the daily picture is bearish, right? We are bearish until this high here. That's the highest high. That's the high low that created a high high. Did we push below it? Yes, right? Obviously, 4 hour picture is different because the 4 hour picture is bullish, right? Because if we go to the lowest point, was the high that created that lowest point is this one here. Did we push above it? Yes. So we've had a bullish breaker structure. So now we have a range, right? We have a swing that we can work with, which is from this swing low to that swing high. What have we had inside of here? We've had the sweet spot rejections, right? Over and over and over and over and over. So this looks pretty good to push higher. Now, that's just basing the analysis off of the 4 hour. Is there a clear and obvious target on the daily? No. Is there a clear and obvious reason for us to head higher on the daily? No. Obviously, we can head high into this daily up candle here, right? Which is 0.6618. That looks pretty good, but yeah, right now, if I look at this, go to the lower time frame. Okay, that's really good. Okay, so we've got some pretty obvious equal highs here on AU, right? Obviously, we've got the new high here on the hourly. We've got a swing high here as well that we can target, right? But so far, hold on, let me charge my phone. But so far, yeah, guys, I really like those highs that we left behind, right? Is there a clear and obvious area where we can look to go long? No, there just isn't, right? So the main basis is going to be working with this. To be honest, if I look at AU, there's a few ways I can play this, right? I can play it from the swing perspective, right? So using the fib, right? I can take the trade off of the 62%, right? Put my SL potentially at the 88%, right? And then target my extension at minus 14%. I can just do it that way, right? So we'll probably chop around a lot, but that's it. I don't need to touch it. I don't need to do anything else. But if I'm focusing mainly on the higher time frame, looking at the 8 hour, the 4 hour, right? I may potentially start looking at a test of this 4 hour candle. To be honest, we can use these hourly candles, but I don't want to use the lower time frame, right? I'll just rather work with the high time frame area, right? So if I can work with the high time frame area, that's gonna give me a little bit more security than the lower time frame areas. Okay, so that's the play there for AU. And of course, last but definitely not least is gold. Let's use this chart here. Okay, so gold's pretty much hit the target of the week, right? So that makes things a little bit difficult, right? But for most of these pairs, they are all pointing towards lower prices, right? I think gold, it would be good if gold actually had a decent pullback today. It doesn't have to be a crazy pullback, but at least, a slight one, maybe into 32.70, 32.60, around that level, and then look to head higher, right? We've got this prior area on the 4 hour, right, which we can sell off from, to be honest, right? That was the area that we tested on Friday, and then Sunday's open, obviously we drop lower, right? So that is a target for us. The only thing that I do see on the daily time frame and on the weekly time frame is this is a sufficient enough pullback for an all-time high. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I look at this, I'm like, yo, we could be running for another all-time high on gold. It's just that simple, guys. All-time high on gold looks very, very likely. And the reason being, we've taken out the liquidity that was resting beneath these lows. We accumulated, we dropped lower. We tested this daily imbalance. On the weekly, you can see we had a clear run of that liquidity. We had the closure of the candle outside of the imbalance there. I wouldn't be surprised if this runs for all-time highs. There's also some geopolitical factors going on at the moment that I've seen online. I think there's something going on with Israel. Hold on, let me see. Sources confirm the US will assist Israel in planned strike on Iranian nuclear facilities. That's just gonna force gold higher, okay? Um, you know, there's nothing complicated about that, right? So in that regard, okay, in that regard, yeah, guys, I don't have anything for gold right now, right? I don't. Um, we'll just have to work with what we can get. But for gold, I don't really have anything. I guess we can play a session, but we still need to see gold drop. I'm gonna set some alerts for gold and see how it's doing. DXY is pushing up, I think. No, it's pushing down. Okay, so there's a potential here, guys. There really is. There is a slight potential here for a little move. Am I going to take it? Let me see the R&R if we do take it. So cover that high of the day. Right, if we can push down. I mean, we can get a 1 to 2. A 1 to 2 R. It's not bad. It's not bad at all, guys. It's not bad at all. Is it great? No, but it's not bad at all. Right. I mean, if gold's gonna drop, I guess we could try to find some moves on there. You know what time it is, guys. We're gonna load it up. Load it up. Load up all the metas. One more. I think that was the last one. Okay. Okay, hourly. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, just gonna have a lower risk on EU. I'm just gonna take the short lower risk. Um Obviously, you know, I don't even know what to tell you guys. Don't go in for a high risk position. We're just testing the waters for now. So let's take a look. It looks like EU slightly behind the dollar right now, just slightly. I look at the 4-hour candle. 4-hour candle's okay. 2-hour does look pretty bullish. Hourly can drop. Anyways, again, guys, this is, well, it should be a really, really low risk trade. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this one. Let's increase the size on that a little bit. You know what? I'm just going to set a limit here. Stop. What was that? Again, guys, this move is yeah, it's not great. So I'm taking it with a very, very small lot size. How much is that? You know, there's nothing saying if the price action improves, we can't look for a re-entry, you know. You know the dollar and EU, man. It's always doing something usually. Yes, Ritesh, how you doing, broski? You good? I do want to look at gold a little bit closer today and tomorrow as well. I don't really want to put all my attention on on EU and dollar. Like the thing is, if gold is gonna drop today, if it is gonna drop today, I reckon we might have to wait till NYSE and see how that goes. Pardon me. Alright, new hourly candle. Okay, guys, let's see what happens with this setup. Let's see. So yeah, like I said, well, I said earlier, and I've also mentioned inside Discord, I think today might be a bit of a dud. I think today might be a bit of a quiet day. The main reason why I say that is because most of this sort of push or pump, if you will, that we've had has happened during Asia. Yeah, majority of it has happened during Asia. So, you know, this move that we're seeing, most of it hasn't come during London session. And obviously now that we're in New York session, we're trying to see what it's gonna do. You know, the thing is, even if the dollar does reach higher, sorry, if the dollar does reach lower, that's fine. Because I just feel like tomorrow is gonna be a better day to trade than today. Just from looking at the price action, everything is just today might just be a bit, you know, a bit of a hit or miss. I mean, we could try a little something on gold, you know. Anyone want to take a buy on gold? Quite like this 2-minute candle here on gold. Looks like we could get a continuation higher. If the dollar is going to keep dropping, right, and if I look at the GDX, we're up pre-market as well on the GDX so far. Okay. We might be able to take a little bit of a gold buy, you know. Again, like I said, I don't really want to focus too much on, you know, what's the name? EU and the dollar. I do want to look at gold today as well. mean, this is not bad, guys. It's not bad. It's not bad, but I just don't like how essentially what we've had is we've had this low, this high, this low, this high. We've had a pretty much a failure, right? We've had a failure to rally higher, right? We had on the 5 minute here, we had a pullback, drop, pullback, drop, pullback, and then whoosh, we just let it rip, right? So essentially, what's really concerning or potentially could be problematic is we could just be in a pullback phase to head down lower, right? That's what I do think is happening right now. However, we can just range today and head to that higher area on the 4 hour, right? So this was the prior area which gave us the short, right? From here on 9th of May, that was where we had that last short. So we may just consolidate here a little bit and then just rally. Like, it's got potential to do that. So right now we got 35 pips ish for the stop. Okay, let's see how E's doing. Still pushing up. Okay, so we got 35 pips here for the stop. To be honest with you, it's not really that great, but there is a move there. I am gonna take a little gold buy. Why not? You know the vibes of gold, guys, man. You never know. Gold might behave, gold might misbehave. But this, guys, this is just, we're testing the waters. This gold trade, we're testing the waters. EU, we're testing the waters, First thing I said to all of you, um, is today just looks like a dud, right? So we'll see if I'm right or not. Rita says you're in a buy. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. You're gonna buy from 32.94, 32.94. Yeah, that's quite low. You got on a decent buy there. I mean, we'll see what happens this hour. What I don't like is, this current hourly candle has no wick on the bottom. It has zero wick on the bottom. Usually, that's a little bit of a sign, like we might flip bearish. Usually, okay, doesn't mean all the time. Let's see gold. I mean, gold should be the same. It is a dollar. Okay, so DXY is pushing a little bit right now. EU is rejecting a little bit as well, yeah, guys. EU is rejecting a little. So for this gold, we're just taking a little bit of a punt, guys, yeah? I'm just taking a little bit of a punt. There isn't a clear picture for gold right now. Gold can drop. Gold can also push higher. But, there's a little potential continuation here. We're just going to play it and see how it does. It's literally that simple. What is that? Okay, dollars reacting heavy. Dollar's having a real nice reaction so far, guys. Okay. I mean, EU might actually pull through. EU might pull through, fellas. To be honest, let's see how this 15-minute candle does. It looks like this little gold punt is going against us. Let's see. Yeah, this gold pun is woo. Okay, guys, if you're in the live stream right now, drop a like on the live. It does help the channel grow. Let's see what this does right now. Right. I wonder if the dollar's gonna fail. I want to see how this 15-minute candle is gonna close. Have a little M1 candle inside of here. That could just push dollar straight back down. Let's see. It's not bad. It's not bad at all, guys. It's actually not bad at all. It's not bad. So let's see, let's see, let's see. Gold still got potential to head higher, it looks like. 5-minute candle closes in a little bit. Okay, getting a bit of a push now. Yeah, I'm a little quiet because I'm just watching price right now. Trying to see what the dollar wants to do. Don't think the dollar might hold, you know. I think the dollar might just drop. I think the dollar might just let go of that low. I don't think the dollar is going to be strong. Then my next question is this a good area to buy gold? It's like, no, not really. I wonder if we're gonna have a slightly better area to take a short or a long from on gold. I'm just watching how gold is reacting with each push of the DXY. Right, we've had the past two 1-minute candles bearish on the DXY, but gold hasn't been pushing up. As soon as we get a slight push up here on gold, sorry, on the dollar, gold just starts reacting a lot more. Right, okay. Yeah, I just don't think the dollar's gonna hold. El Jefe, what's happening, bro? What'd you say? 27257.25 first? What's that for? What pair is that for, bro? What do you mean gold? 257. That's a lot lower. 257. What's that? Sorry, wrong one. What pair are you referring to, bro? Is it EU? Is it the DXY? Yeah, today, to be honest with you guys, today just might be a dud of a day. I don't really. You're watching NQ. Okay, cool. I don't really see us getting a crazy move today. Let's see NQ. You said what? What's that? 25. That doesn't make sense to me. 257. 257. Where's 257? I think you're referring to like the 5-minute high, right? Looks like gold's having a little bit of a reaction. It's like there's a lot of chopping here, guys. Technically, we haven't broken this 2-minute candle, but this is really choppy. 257. I mean, when I look at the stock today, maybe today we trade the stock market. You know, if EU and GU are not really providing much, and gold is not providing much, we might take a look at the stock market. 15-minute candle is about to close, guys. It's about to close. Gold is heading higher. Which I find quite interesting that gold is even pushing higher right now. I really do find it interesting. Like the vibe you get from looking at pretty much most of market is it looks like a pretty dud day. But usually, you know, all that means is the volume is somewhere, and we need to find where that volume is, right? If the volume is not in forex, if the volume is not in commodities, is the volume in crypto, right? Is the volume in crypto, or is the volume in the stock market? That's what we've kind of got to figure out today. I mean, gold's having a decent push, guys. What do you think? It's having a decent push. Okay, you know, gold's been a little bit of a headache, but in prof. We've got 15 more minutes till stock open. Let's take a look at NQ, man. I think stock market, where is it? I mean, we're very close to all-time highs, which is, you know, a given. We're very bullish, right? Very, very, very bullish. Like, it's not smart to start taking shorts, really. But to be honest, yesterday we had a bearish day. We didn't have an inside day. We didn't. Today we might have an inside day, right? So it looks like the swing that I'm going to work with on NQ today is going to be Monday's low to Tuesday's high, right? So Monday's low, Tuesday's high. Right, so where are we currently sitting? Okay, so we're inside an area and a level where we can actually get a push up from. Let me see if there's any stock or some earnings reports. come out. Guys, if you're enjoying the stream, don't forget to leave a like, guys, and subscribe if you're new. Definitely leave a like, guys. It does help with the algorithms on YouTube. Let me just check if there's any earning reports today. TJX by market cap. Snowflake, Singapore Telecom. Okay, so there isn't like, you know, the massive, well, these companies are billion-dollar companies, but you know, there isn't any of the main staples in here that have a earnings report today. Let me see tomorrow. What has been coming out this week? Oxford Lane, Big Yellow. See what else I can notice in here. Okay, it looks like earnings is not going to be a main staple. I feel like tomorrow is just going to be the day. You know what I mean? That's just what I think is going to happen. I think tomorrow is going to be the day to trade. But so far, EU's somehow in profit, which is great. EU's in prof. Looks like that might do alright. Gold is also in profit, even though they are, you know, opposing. See what these guys are talking about.
Speak about this now because I'm over it. But I couldn't speak about this for a while. And I think I just threw like 150 grand at it. Like, boom. Like, it had gone down. By the way, it was based off, it was down 99%.
Wait, what? Guys, I'm gonna send you this video.
Oh my gosh. All I need is the tiniest recovery. Like a little bounce. And that's a mil. That's all I was thinking. All I need is a bounce. Like, I thought, all right, it's down 99%. Even if that just recovers 20% of what it was, I am out of here. Good. Studio's closed. That kind of thing. I mean, the Caribbean. That's it. But what I didn't realize is I didn't do the SWOT analysis. I didn't do it because I forgot that even from 99%, you can go down a further 99%, and that's exactly what happened. It turned my 150 grand in the space of a few hours to around £6.
No way.
The thing that people, I didn't get about crypto, that there's like, with property, there is always an intrinsic value in the asset.
Yeah.
Like, you can mess it, like, you can literally, like, you can destroy your house. There's certain words you use, you end up on a watch list.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You could destroy your house.
Yeah.
And the land still has value. It's still worth half what it was, even with no house there. Of course. Like, you could.
That's crazy. Oh my goodness.
Now say that, okay, Bitcoin. Okay, what about platinum? What about coal? Why don't we hold strategic beef reserves or mutton reserves or apple reserves? Why Bitcoin? So it's a public political issue that we
Yes,
need
Joe.
to
Money Day, Joe. How you doing, bro? Okay, guys. Yeah, I'm back. Enough of the memes for a sec. All right, cool. So we're about 6 minutes away from stock open, right? I'm gonna turn up a bit of Bloomberg. It looks like gold's kind of holding this 15-minute up candle, but we'll see how that progresses for now. Today, yeah, again, I'm gonna, reiterate the same point that I made, a second ago. Today is not looking like a high probable day, right? It's just not. So don't kill yourself. Today's just not looking all that nice. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna smash and grab, work with what we can get. The only thing that's in profit right now is EU, and I think gold. Is gold in profit? Yeah, gold's in profit a little bit, guys. That's about it. Like I don't think the dollar is gonna push up anymore. I just don't. But we'll see. The obviously, as we know, the picture can change at any given moment. Gold is back down. Dollar's pushing up. Okay. Picture's building here on the DXY a little bit. Let's turn up Bloomberg as we're getting closer to stock open. If you're new to the channel, guys, don't forget to subscribe. And also, if you enjoy this type of content, more of this content is provided for free inside of my Discord. Link to the Discord is in the description box of this video down below. I post a lot of analysis. Also have some live streams in there as well. If you want to chit chat, it's all in there as well. So we dollar's not really making its mind up of what it wants to do for now. Like, I just don't see today being much. I really don't. And I'm hoping I'm wrong. You know, ideally I'm hoping I'm wrong so that we can get something. It is midweek after all. I think the trading week we're gonna get tomorrow and Friday, and that's it.
And Davos, you were asking a question of
I think that's
President
gonna be
Trump,
it.
and he didn't quite answer the question, and he asked you a question. So
See how
the question
crypto's
he
been
asked you
doing.
was, something like, why are you not banking
ETH might
certain
just,
groups?
you know, pump
What is
again.
the answer? I don't think he gave you a chance to really answer that question, but what is the answer to that question?
Well, first off, the Bank of America has 70 million consumer customers and millions of small businesses all over the country, all over the world. But,
Okay,
and so we bank everybody.
cool.
But
Bitcoin's
the
close to
real
all-time
question is
highs
about
again.
overregulation, frankly.
See how that
And
does.
So if you look what's happened,
Let's go back to gold.
because the interpretations of AML, anti-money laundering, BSA.
Well, gold is literally just messing about right now.
Customer, know your customer's customer. You know, there's a lot of.
It's literally just
burden
messing
upon the
about.
banking system to both report suspicious activity.
I mean, we'll see if we hit TP or SL. That's all what we can do right now.
Close accounts, we can't tell people why we did.
TP
Often
or
we're told
SL.
by employees to close accounts. That creates confusion. Another area comes up in this discussion.
Like, let's just say I had to pick, right? 50-50, I had to pick whether it's going to be dollar to push up or dollar to push down. I would have to say dollar to push down.
The operating company, they said that's
I don't see this being enough, but I could be wrong. So let's see.
would have never gotten the authority. So that came up as an issue. So at the end of the day, it's about getting these regulations right.
Middle East and Africa. Vibrant resources and high-yield investment opportunities abound. Join me on Horizons Middle East and Africa for the stories, newsmakers, and insight from this exciting region. Now weekdays, only on Bloomberg.
If I had to pick, it would be dollar to come down. I know, you know, at the start of the session I wanted dollar to rise, but just looking at what we're getting right now, yeah, it's just not giving me confidence.
We are moments away from the start of trading. This is Bloomberg Open Interest. I'm Matt Miller. We have futures pointing
Goes
lower
pushing.
today on concern
Stock open now.
about pulled outlooks due to tariffs. We're going to talk about.
So GDX is up. It's opened up. It's still pushing higher.
S&P futures down 3/4.
So let's see if gold can follow suit.
0.8%. The small caps getting hit even harder. You hear the opening bell, and if you look,
GDX is still pushing up.
On the Nasdaq, you've got Patriot National Bank Corp. On the New York
Let's take a listen to Bloomberg a little bit.
Cooler, I think. Although if you're a shareholder in Patriot, you're up 200% year to date. You've got the U.S. Sail GP team. This is like F1 or MotoGP, but for sailing, which is pretty awesome. But even cooler, it makes me think of Steve, who is sailing from Oregon to Hawaii by himself with his cat that everyone is following on Instagram and TikTok. In terms of stocks to watch this morning, Target reported a pullback in store traffic and lowered its outlook as shoppers spend less. Lowe's sales actually beat expectations, defying the tariff volatility seen by others, but those shares are no longer gaining as they were in the pre-market. Nvidia is down not a whole lot, 0.5%, but for a $2.5 trillion company, that means a lot to the indexes. That CEO, Jensen Huang, is calling chip exports a failure. Chip export blocks a failure because it's not continuing to hold U.S. dominance in the AI market. Joining me at the desk is Julian Emanuel, Evercore ISI Chief Equity Derivatives and Quant Strategist. He says the structural bull market is alive and well, led by AI-centric names and themes. And it's great to have you on. I was thinking about you the other day when I was watching Surveillance, and they were talking to Ed Yardeni, because he says he can't decide if a bond market meltdown or a stock market melt up is more likely. And I thought, stock market melt up?
Okay, GDX is pushing, still pushing, so gold will probably keep going.
And actually, because if you look at it, is
I'm gonna go break even here on gold.
up into the election.
Gonna be my stop
We
now.
would argue that was not sufficient FOMO because the market cap as a percentage of the total was not large enough.
But Julian, I'm talking about
I've
from
put
the
my
April
stop
lows. I mean,
just
we're up
under here.
only 20% from the lows in April on
GDX looks
I
really,
guess
really
only
good.
one reason, only the fact that Trump
So let's
got
see if
down on his
it can
China
keep
tariff.
going.
Well, that's
Nasdaq, what's
certainly
Nasdaq doing?
the
It's turned
biggest
around, it's had a bit
no
of a
question
pump.
about it, because before those lows, we were
Let's see
getting
how this
calls
does.
daily for several weeks asking us whether the Trump administration actually
Okay,
wanted
gold's
a
looking
recession
extra good now.
to keep bond yields suppressed, and we always thought that was no, and the pivot really catalyzed the market response. But again,
Okay, so
the point you're
DXY
making, and your
is
previous guest,
dropping now.
is that
Not
this
really.
is a resumption of a structural bull market driven by the AI revolution, very much like the structural bull market of the late 90s, driven by the internet revolution, interrupted by a cyclical bear market. That's over now. But to your point, we have come a very long way, very quickly, and we see the headlines this morning. There's still a lot of geopolitical uncertainty out there. And at 23 times earnings, we think, stocks in the near term are likely to pause and digest here.
So 23 times earnings for the broader market is far above the historical average, but you're seeing valuations on the Mag 7 that are below their, I guess, recent averages, right? And for tech stocks, they don't look that eye-popping.
No, and again, the earnings dynamics of that sector drive the premium that's been with us for years and years and years, and is likely to be with us for years and years. But the difference between the last several weeks and the market's realization of the longevity of this theme is to work that we actually did over the weekend that shows that the use case is proliferating across industries. So executives are actually figuring out how to apply it to control costs and to drive revenue, whether you're an industrial company or a financial company or a travel operator.
Joe Chiaffi in the control room pulling up a bunch of stocks that are fascinating to watch on an intraday level, but show me those stocks or those sectors year to date, because it'd be interesting to see how the Mag 7 is doing year to date. A lot of them still haven't gotten back to unchanged, even though the broader market is already gaining year to date. What's your expectation for the market and for the Mag 7 at year end or into 2026?
So our view is, if you look at how bull markets unfold, and an interrupted bull market like what we've had, into the April lows, there is a tendency for two things. Number one, the stocks that get hit the hardest in the downturn tend to drive the rally. We're seeing that in these names, but it's sort of the double dollop of the fact that those names were the leaders off of the October 2020
Okay.
low.
Still down 20% year to date.
Yeah, but
it's still down 13.
Right, but again, go back and look at how much those stocks are up since 2022 or 2020, and you can really say that a lot of this is a longer-term digestion phase, particularly at these multiples broadly, given the policy.
GDX is having a slight pullback.
Julian, speaking of policy uncertainty, and look, thank you, Joe. He's pulled up a 5-year chart, so you can see the amazing returns that these companies have given investors and really with which they've powered the indexes. Speaking of policy uncertainty, what do you make of rates? Right now, we're in what some would have called the danger zone for the 10-year, above 450, right at 453. We're above 5% on the longer end of the curve. Does that concern you? And which direction do you think it's going?
It does. It is definitely a headwind. So a number of weeks ago, we did an analysis of, again, this structural bull market that began at the October 2022 lows. And virtually 100% of the total market's return during that period occurred when yields on the 10-year were 4.5% or below. Very marginal positive returns between 4.5 and 4.75, and negative returns above 4.75. And From our point of view, the money market investors should be very happy that the big, beautiful bill seems to be moving through, because we aren't going to have to worry about, hopefully, any of the kinds of ructions that we had to think about during the original debt ceiling crisis in 2011. But the flip side of that is that we are, once again, proliferating deficits as far as the eye can see. And as we've learned, there is a shifting preference or a diversification away from U.S. assets, which likely is a multi-year process and doesn't really interrupt what we think is the procession of this bull market, but it's a process.
Also away from states' rights and toward a centrally controlled economy in Washington, but we won't get into that right now. I want to talk about Morgan Stanley, the cross-asset team there, led by Serena Tang, put out.
Okay.
They also expect 6,500.
We're out of gold, man.
2026. But I thought most interesting was.
All right, so
at
right now,
at year-end, because
we just got to let gold build a little bit.
Through 2026.
It'll probably still go up, but it's still 50-50 for gold. Dollar's having a little bit of a push up as well. If I look at EU, EU's back down. There's a lot of chop going on right now. And when we usually have these type of conditions, the number one thing that I'm always going to say every single time is you've just got to wait. Give it a couple of hours. Have a look 4 p.m., 5 p.m. See if we can get, you know, a direction going on right now, because, you know, we're kind of just chopping. Now, if this 15-minute candle that's printing, right, if this current 15-minute candle can engulf the prior 15-minute candle, so if we get a closure somewhere around here, then we're pretty good, right? I think there's a good chance for us to actually continue higher on the dollar. I do think that there's a good chance of that, but this 15-minute candle, depending on how it closes, it needs to be engulfing. Okay, guys, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. I provide a lot more of this content for free inside of my Discord. Link to the Discord is in the description box down below, and whilst you're down there, leave a like. Okay, so it's hit stop profit, and then it's just gone back into profit again. I'm not really gonna battle with gold today, man. I can't be bothered. I'll be so honest with you guys. I can't be bothered to battle with gold today. But yeah, definitely look to see how that 15-minute candle is gonna close there on the DXY. If we can get some engulfing candles, that'll be quite good. Just got to play it picture by picture.
Services is up. So this is those big hyperscalers, those big AI data centers, Google right up there at the top. Down at the bottom, you have consumer discretionary, you have IT, and then you have healthcare. Healthcare really dominated by UNH. Coming up, we're going to talk deeply about electric vehicles. ChargePoint is accelerating the build-out of its EV infrastructure, charging infrastructure. We're going to speak to the company's president and CEO, Rick Wilmer, and we're going to talk about Elon Musk's interview yesterday and comments that everybody is doing poorly in terms of European sales. This is Open Interest.
Okay, guys, so far
Africa has been silent.
we're getting there. We're slowly engulfing on the 15-minute here for the dollar. Oh, we have engulfed, in fact.
For years to come.
So now I want to see us get a closure. Even if we get closure around here, it's not bad. You know, if we can get closure higher, it's better. Because then I know, you know, in the next 15 minutes, there's a good chance that we could potentially now rally for this high. So I don't want to see us kind of wick here and then close here. you know what I mean, will close here. I want to see the body close above the prior candle. So
managing expectations.
that's what we're working with right now.
Investors, we're going to go out there and we're going to sort of start making films that are going to bring you $1 billion return on investment. That's not to say there can't be
Gold
outliers.
is still chopping and changing.
The world has seen this happen time and time again.
Jumpstart your trading day on Bloomberg Open Interest.
2 hours of single stock stories that are driving the opening bell action.
We'll take you to Wall Street, Main Street, the C-suite, and beyond.
These are companies that are growing their market.
The great companies in the U.S. are the companies hitting the cutting edge. That's a different story.
Get the inside track on what's buzzing in markets
with the players who are shaping the narrative.
If you have bad earnings reports, you're going to get punished.
They're not buying what the industry is selling. Join us on Bloomberg Open Interest every trading day, only on Bloomberg.
Bringing you up-to-the-minute geopolitical news whenever and wherever it happens. I'm David Gura in Ottawa, Canada, and this is Bloomberg.
Bloomberg brings you breaking news 24 hours a day. Powered by more than 3,000 journalists and analysts in more than 100 bureaus across the globe. Bloomberg Television. Context changes everything.
Morning, this is Bloomberg Daybreak Europe. I'm Tom McKenzie in London. These are the stories that set your agenda.
Taking you from the U.S. markets close to the overnight session in Asia, we'll walk you through what you need to know to kickstart Europe's trading day. Live from our European headquarters, we bring you the day's top market-moving stories, unmatched expert analysis, and on-the-ground reporting from across the continent. Tune in to Daybreak Europe, only on Bloomberg Television. Context changes everything.
Time now for our top call. Some of the analysts' action and focus this morning. First up, Home Depot getting upgraded to a buy at Stifel following its better-than-expected earnings yesterday.
Okay, guys.
More upside potential now.
Yeah, so Nasdaq is currently pushing up. I want to see if this can actually head higher, at least for now. For today, see if there's. To be honest, guys, just gotta let these pictures build a little bit more. We're about to get this 15-minute candle closure. I might look to just end the stream here because there's not really much. Look to see if we can get this continuing higher on the DXY, and I will update you guys inside of the Discord. Link to Discord is in the description box down below if you guys are not already in there. And also don't forget to leave a like. Thank you for joining me this stream. Look at how this 15-minute candle is closing. Look at this 15-minute candle. Yeah. I'm going to set some alerts, and I want to see us either go for the high or go for the low, because right now we're just chopping and changing, and I just need to see a little bit better price action. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys with that. Just look at that. That's really ugly on gold. Money day, guys. I will update you inside the Discord. Peace.